Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
So today what we'll do is, I did show you how to set up the navigation, how to set up the layouts and personalization, what exactly are the set preferences that we have seen. Now today what we'll do is we will go into the setup. So under the setup you will have, these are the subheadings that you have the company, accounting, tax, sales, manufacturing. So we'll go into each one of it in detail. The maximum time that we will spend would be on the enable features and on the accounting preferences. This is the navigation, go to setup company, enable features. That is one thing, and then we will spend setup accounting preferences. These are the two very important things that we deal with in personalization sessions. Whenever we deal with the personalization and when we are talking with the clients about what exactly needs to be enabled and what needs to be disabled. These are the two areas in every module. Let that be in procure to pay, order to cash, lead to quote, marketing to ROI, or even if it is record to report or any other module that we are talking about. These are two important pages that you have to remember. Go into setup company, enable features, setup accounting preferences, or you can actually do this as well. Just like the way we've done it yesterday. If you're not sure of the navigation, you can go to the global search and do this as well. It will give you the navigation too. It's a setup company. Enable features this particular navigation, you will be able to get it. So just in case, maybe these are not set up. No issue. So let's go into setup company and company information first. And then we'll see the enable features. So what are information which is there as part of the company information? This is the first page that you will actually land upon when you're talking with the clients. When you're doing the getting started session with the client, this is the first page that you have to come in. This is where you have to mention what is the company name. The complete company name. What is the legal name of the company that you're working for? And then you can also set up the logos. I did mention about the logos the other day. If you want to have logo on each page like this, you see this Oracle NetSuite. So just like this, if you need to have a company logo next to this Oracle NetSuite, then this is where you set it up on the forms. If you wanted to separate logo, this is where you do it. On the pages, this is where you do it. So you can also click on display logo internally too. So all you got to do is, click on this plus symbol. And then you can choose the file. If you click on choose file, then any file of your choice you can actually choose and keep it here. And this file will be saved on your file cabinet. So you can choose your file. You can, after you choose the file, if you want to make it inactive or active, if you want to make it available for suit bundles and suit, there are other things that you can hide upon. Company-wide usage, general, URL stamps. So these are the things that you can actually choose to have it on each page. Whenever you log into any form, you will see that logo. Whenever you log into any page, you will see this logo. I mean, if there are two different logos, by the way, you can actually set it up. This is the company website where you can specify what exactly is the website of the company and then the return email address. What is the return email address for the company when you are sending it? And you can also specify what is the address for the company by clicking on edit. When you click on edit, it will give you all the options like the attention addressee phone number, address, one address, two cities, state and zip code. Now, when I was referring to the master data, this is one of the master data which is already set up in the system. If you see, you will get this list because this is a master data. Country. This is a master data. You will have a list, and where exactly do you have them? You will have them under this stated provinces and countries. Whatever you define here. Let's say you go into the countries and you also go into the. Since we are dealing with the addresses, I'll let you know what these are. So when you go into the countries, you can define any. Usually for an H suite instance, you will have a new button over here. Do not get confused that it is not available for us because this is a training account and they do not want to add any additional junk countries over there. And that is the reason you know it is disabled for us, but usually there is a new button. So after the countries are set up, and by the way, you don't have to set up the countries manually whenever you install a bundle. The first thing that you do on Netsuite is that you will install a bundle based on what the customer has paid for. Let that be a purchase, bundle or a manufacturing bundle. Whatever it is, they will have to install that bundle. So I will let you know where exactly to go for that bundles a little later, but I just wanted to show you what these countries are. So once the countries are actually coming from the bundle, and if there is any country which is missed out as one of the bundle, you can add them by clicking on new. So once the countries are set up, these are the states and provinces under each country which the Netsuite automatically gives. Under China, you will have so many provinces, states and provinces here, and then under Canada, under United States, under India. So anything that you have, you can actually, now we do not have the states mentioned here for India. Correct. So for that you can click on new and then you can select India as the country and then the state. So this is how you create the state, province and county. So once you go in now, you will have India as a country and then you will have the state which is defined. So that is how you pull the information on this address pages. So that is the master data that I was relating to state country. All these things would actually be pulling out from this master data which we already created. Any questions on that? I think that as you know. So likewise, you can also define a shipping address or you can define a return address as well. And when you define all these shipping addresses, everything, it automatically gives you the map as well. When you define the zip code and everything, it will provide you the map on Netsuite as to what exactly that is. So this is a purge account. Now what exactly do you mean by purge? Whenever you do not want this account completely, it's like deleting the account. So only the administrators would actually have an access to this purge account option. And then they do it. So this is the social security number or the TI number of the company that you specify. For the United States companies, there is something called as EI number as well, which is employer identification number. And you can specify the EN number over here. This is the Netsuite account ID. So whenever customer has an issue with the NetSuite, like they're not able to log in, the system is not opening, or if there is any technical issue with the system, then they would have to refer to this account. ID. This is the company information that they would get into. And they would say, this is my account, ID, and I have a problem. So whenever you reach out to the support team, this is very important. And under the company URLs, you can specify what is the company U. El Customer Center login, NetSuite Center login. These are the usual logins that you have. NetSuite Ecom is one of the logins that you will have for customer. This is a customer center login. So one thing I wanted to let you know is, just like the way we, the implementation consultants, are logging into NetSuite, there is a way that the existing customers and the vendors on the portal also can log into the NetSuite. So who are the customers and vendors? The one who we buy from other vendors and the one who we sell to other customers. So we give the NetSuite access to the vendors and customers as well. However, they will not have the complete access that you're seeing now. All they will have is, if he's a customer, he will have access to his sales orders, his invoicing, his item fulfillment. Only those pages. If he's a vendor from who we are purchasing, then the vendor will have access to the purchase orders, to the vendor bills and item receipts that we do. That's it. So only very little access we provide to the customers and vendors. That's about the company URLs. Now getting to the system notes. What exactly is a system note? Any change that you make is actually captured as part of the system notes in the system. So any field, you see this? The field was something else. Earlier I changed it to all. So company name, administrator, fundamental state. This was the old value and this is the new value which is provided. Email Netsuite.com is what it was earlier and now it's an SGBU_training feedback@. This one feedback@Netsuite.com is what the email address is. So any changes that you make would actually get captured over here. Now I'm making a change on the fax. And this is not just limited to the company information page, but the system notes is available for every page on NetSuite. Whatever changes you make as a user, every little change is captured as part of the system notes. You see this. I have changed the fax now and it displays that I have made this change. We are done with the company information. Now let's jump on to the enable features, which is very important. So regarding the settings, we have done is setting now and it shows the log. So whatever the activity or the preferences we do, even those logs will be shown under system notes. That's a good question. No, it won't show up. The settings changes that we do here at the enable features and the accounting preferences, these will not show up, but under any transactions, any lists or anything that you're changing. Wherever you have access to the NetSuite system notes, that is the only thing which will be visible. Understood. Thank you. So the other day I told you that if you want a view like this, you can keep it, or if you want one after the other, you can click on this. So this is how it will appear, but let's go back to the other view. So we have several tabs under the enable features. Now what are these tabs related to? The first one is a company tab. So this particular tab is all related to the company. Company-wide preferences. What do you want to enable? What do you want to disable? These are the things. Now this is the accounting tab, which is completely related to the finance. What needs to be enabled? What needs to be disabled? We'll see everything field by field, but I just wanted to show you all the tabs that we have at the moment. And then this is a tax tab. Any advanced taxes or whatever you set up will be visible here. This is a transactions tab. So under the transactions, what all do you have? Do you want to have the sales orders? Do you want to have the purchase orders? Do you want to have the return authorizations of these things? So all these are enabled and disabled at the transactions level. We'll come back to that again. This is items and inventory. So what all items do you have? How do we specify? This is called the Design to Build tab. If you remember, I told you that D2B, everything related to items and inventory, comes under Design to Build. So this tab is what Design to Build. And this tab is for procure to pay, R2 cash and manufacturing. You know all these things. This is for record to report R2R company and the accounting. So let's go back to the company tab and then we will see each one. Or do you want me to increase the font? That's good. It's visible. Great. So under the company, there is something called as classifications. So what exactly is a classification? When you go to system, set up company and then scroll down. This is what your classification says. So under the classifications, subsidiaries. This is very important and this is a mandatory thing. It would be there for every company. Subsidiary is nothing but your legal entity. Any branch, any physical location, any what you call legal entity. You have your business in that particular state, so that is what is your legal entity. So obviously one of the other subsidiaries you will have. So use subsidiary is a mandatory thing which will have. So apart from subsidiaries, what else do you have? So you have your departments, you have your locations, you have your classes. And these things you can actually enable and disable them if you want. What exactly is a department? So you can track your activity by department when you have it. So what all departments can a company have? You can have your HR department. You can have your IT department. You can have your facilities department. You'll have your operations department. So these are all your departments in the company which you can specify. Now, why are we specifying this classification? Whenever you put in a purchase order, whenever you put in a sales order, these classification selection would be available on the purchase order or the sales order or any transaction for that matter. The reason why you're doing that is you might want to put in a purchase order for the IT department. When you're procuring the laptops. Correct? You might want to procure chairs and furniture for your operations department. So likewise, you can actually define your purchase order. You can actually filter your purchase order depending on that. So the reporting tomorrow, you can actually see how much have we spent on the IT department, how much have we spent on the legal department, how much have we spent on the operations, how much have we spent on the HR department. So that is the reason most of the companies will certainly have departments. Now what is a location? A location is a physical warehouse, as simple as that. So you can have your one legal entity, maybe in Hyderabad, but you can have your warehouses across the state. You can have it in Warangal, you can have one in Kajit, you can have one in the other one. So these are your physical locations. So depending on the business, depending on the number of warehouses that these people have, the locations are defined. So what is a class? Now, class is something that your items are categorized into. You know products like beauty products, You might have your home and decor beauty products, furniture. You can actually specify what class your item belongs to. It's a broader classification of your item. So under the beauty products, you might have your facial cream, you might have your manicure pedicure sets, you might have your anything. All these come under the beauty product. So you can classify your items as beauty products, and that is the reason all these three things are called as classifications. Now, where exactly do you see them? I will show them to you a little later, but I just wanted to show you before we move on, so that you will have a clear idea. So when I go into a purchase order, you see these things. Location. You have your location, you've got your division, you have your department. Everything would be visible over here and you have to select them. These are the things. These are the things which are there. So you can segregate your purchase orders. You segregate your sales orders based on the classification. Any questions on this? So now coming to the projects, I have spoken about the project to cash module. So under the project to cache module, these are the different options that you can enable and disable. So let's do one thing. Classes as it is. I think they have changed the name on it. One second. This is sales channels. There is classes. One second. So as I told you earlier, there is something called as rename record transactions. So for every record that you have, you can actually rename that. You see this. Somebody has done this. The name for class. What they have done it as sales channels. Usually if you go here into the company and scroll down, this is the class actually. So what I can do is, if I rename record transactions, if I save it all. Now let's go to company, scroll down. You see this now. The reason I wanted to show you this is if you disable that feature now, I've disabled it. I don't know if the system allows us to do that because classes must be used somewhere. That now it's disabled. So once I refresh, since the classes is disabled, if I go to company now, I will be able to see only the departments and locations. It's not yet updated. Hold on. Maybe it will take some time, but let's refresh. Since I have disabled that in the enable features option, the classes should not be showing up here. It might take some time since this is a test account, but that is how you enable and disable certain things. Let's go back here. Let's enable it. All. So that is how you enable, disable certain features. Let's go back to the enable features again. So coming to the projects, so this is where you enable the projects and the project management. So once you enable these projects, this is where you will find them. Project templates. Usually there would be projects as well here under the jobs. I think they have renamed the project to jobs, and that is the reason you're seeing it there. So let us go here. One second. It creates a little confusion when people change certain things. It's actually a project and not a job. So that is the reason you were not seeing the jobs, project earlier over there. So now if you refresh this as well. You see this project and project templates. So if I disable this, the projects will be gone. You will not have the projects option over there. So this is about the job costing and project budgeting. You know, these are a little advanced topics. So what we'll do is we will cover everything which is related to purchase, sales, and the assemblies, and then we'll come back to the projects later on. So coming to ERP General. So what is units of measure? A unit of measure is nothing but any item that you have in your inventory would have certain unit. If it is a liquid, you will have liters, milliliters, cubic liters, and so on. So if it is, a big box, then you will have cubic meters, area, basically if it covers the area. So all these things are your units of measure. So do you want to have multiple units of measure? Now, what do you mean by multiple units of measure? If you go into the lists, accounting and units of measure, this is where you have the units of measure. I will tell you while creating the items what exactly is the unit of measure. You see this now. So you can have multiple units of measure. This is box. Now that is the base unit that I am defining here. Now if I click on box, I can say that 6 boxes is my box pack of 6. "12 box is a box pack of 12. So this is what your multiple units of measure will do. It will convert your base unit into multiple units. And you can see the conversion rate over here. So 12 boxes is my back box pack of 12. But instead of doing the showing you the box, I think I can show you the length, maybe the weight. So if you go into the weight, multiple units are not measured here. One second. So length is my base unit. What I'm saying is meters. Now 1 meter is my base unit and 2.5 inches would be a 1 meter. That is what I'm defining as a conversion rate. So when you are actually taking these units, when you specify your base unit on an item, you can actually, whenever you're creating the purchase orders, you can select multiple units over here. It could be meters, it could be centimeters, it could be your kilometers that you can specify. So all these things, you will have a selection and the system automatically converts that into a base unit. We'll look into this in detail when we are discussing what the items. By the way, any questions on this? Great. So that is what your multiple units of measure would actually do. So use a deletion reason. Now Gopi, if you remember, you had asked me why are we deleting certain things on the production just before we go live. So if you want to specify a reason whenever you're deleting something, use actually enable this, and any transaction that you release, that you delete on Netsuite, it will ask you for a reason. There will be set reasons which are specified in the system already. And what are those test transactions done by mistake, or those things are actually master data which is already created within the system. So if you enable this feature, if you try to delete something, it will throw a pop-up box saying you have to select the deletion reason. Why exactly are you deleting? It is what is you have to select. Any questions? What kind of transactions for everything? It will show. For everything, it will show you delete purchase order, you delete journal entries. If you are deleting sales orders, see usually in a production system, this is enabled by default. Because we want to know if someone is deleting, any record. You would come to know if they delete, but what is the reason for them to delete? Those reasons are actually specified. And then you can see that if it is entered by mistake or anything, any reason that they can specify. The administrator would come to know that fine. This was a call was deleted for some reason. So multi-subsidiary customer, what exactly does this mean? If you go into the subsidiaries, I wanted to go into the subsidiaries, but a little later let me show it to you. So if you go into the subsidiaries here in the test account, you have like 9 or 10 subsidiaries. So what does multi-subsidiary customer mean? Whenever you're creating a customer, maybe the customer is from California. However, he can purchase your boots from all these subsidiaries. There is a chance that he might want to purchase from Amazon and Amazon Metro test subsidiaries, which are in different states, which are no one could be in Delaware, one California, one Washington DC, one Connecticut, the other one in Canada. So all these subsidiaries, if you want to do business with a customer from different subsidiaries, then this feature has to be enabled. As simple as that. So what happens when you enable this? When you go into your customers, let me navigate to lists, relationships and customers. When you do this, and when you're trying to create a new customer, you can actually specify, you can select multiple subsidiaries from here. Any question on that? So I changed the form. Don't worry. I'll show you what forms are. So here you can specify what is a parent company for this customer. Along with that, you can select multiple subsidiaries so that while doing your transactions, you can actually select this customer and then select a subsidiary to which this customer is actually doing business with. That is what your multiple multi-subsidiary currency feature will do. If this was disabled, then this option will not be there. Only one subsidiary can be selected. You can transact with that one customer with that subsidiary only. Any questions on this? So if you go to a primary subsidiary, you want me to go there again? No, I was asking. If you go to the primary subsidiary, it will show the length subsidiary also when you want to purchase. Is that? So if you specify your primary subsidiary, what happens? Good question. Then what happens is, whenever you put in a purchase order, by default it goes into this primary subsidiary. And then you can change the subsidiary at the purchase order level. I'll show it to you when we deal with the purchase orders. When we go there, I will show how exactly these things actually work out. I mean, say it might take some time for me to show it away. Let's do that. What else? We will go into the list of customers that we already have. Let's open one of the. Oh, there are no customers. No, there should be customers in all stages. These are the customers. So let us go into the Sky Zone. This is a customer that might have just one subsidiary listed down for them. Let us scroll down. So here Metro is the primary subsidiary for this customer. Now I can select Amazon as the additional subsidiary and let's save it. What was the customer name? Sky. Now when you go into the purchase orders, when you go into the sales orders, I am entering a sales order for this customer Sky Zone. I go into the sales order and then let us select Sky Zone as the customer. Now, when I do that, what happens is there is a subsidiary option and you see this, it got defaulted to the Metro. You got defaulted to the Metro subsidiary. So what I'm saying is this customer is buying from the Metro subsidiary for this purchase order. However, since I have added another subsidiary for this customer, if you see this, only 2 will be available because on that customer we have only 2. Correct? So only 2 will be available. You can set up Amazon and then you can put in a sales order. That's how the multi-subsidiary customer would actually work. Hope things are clear now. You got that? Perfect. So what is an advanced numbering? Just remember this. I will get back to this advanced numbering once again when we are actually dealing with the auto-generated numbers. I will let you know what advanced numbering is and how it works when we go to the auto-generated numbers since we are in the enable features now. Let's skip that topic for now. So what is resource allocations? On a project, if you want to allocate, go ahead. Any questions? Small question. So that subsidiary option is only for purchasing. That's not for sales. No. It will be for purchase and sales also. So we went into the sales order only. Just a while ago, we went into the sales order only because I made those changes at the customer level. If you're making the changes at the vendor level, then you can check it on the purchase orders. Got it. Great. So what is resource allocation? Any project that you are dealing with, let us say you have 80, 90 odd employees. So you want to reserve a few employees for one particular project. Out of those 85 people that you have, maybe 5 or 10 people you want only on one project. So you can actually do a resource allocation chart grid. This is a part of the projects, by the way. Resource management is a part of the project. So you can have that resource chart grid available under the projects and you can define those, 5 or 6 employees for certain projects that you have there. So even I don't know where resource allocation chart grid is. So this is the navigation. The reports of resource allocations activities continuing. Here it is. It is under the resource allocations over here. So we'll see that how exactly things work at the end of the session. And then international multiple currencies. Do you want to deal with multiple currencies? Do you want to have the currency exchange rate integration enabled? Do you want to convert the dollars into rupees? All these things you can actually enable, disable them. So this is where you have your data management. Do you want to enable the file cabinet or not? Since I enabled the file cabinet, it pays available for us over here. If it is not enabled, then this option will not be there. The file cabinet that you see here, this will not be there. Duplicate detection and merge. Now what exactly this does? Whenever you're creating your vendors or customers, you can create certain duplicate criteria. Like you can say that if the email addresses match, I want the system to show me that this is a duplicate vendor. If the phone numbers match, I want the system to show it as a duplicate vendor or a customer. And where exactly do you have it under system setup? If you go into the accounting and scroll down, there is a duplicate detection criteria that you have. We may not have access to that. I think it's here. Hold. Duplicate detection criteria. You see this. So this is a duplicate detection criteria. Here what you can do is you can specify your detect duplicates across subsidiaries, customers and vendors only. Detect customer duplicates. These are the two criteria that you have set up. And how do you want to set it up? Email main only. So if the email domain is matching, then we want to throw them as duplicates. However, there are certain domains which are widely used, like the Gmail, the Hotmail, the Yahoo Mail, all these things. So depending on the domain only, you may not want to define these things, so you can exclude those domains over here. So these are the domains which are widely used, like Mail, Minspring, Netscape. You've got Comcast Gmail. Hotmail also would be there a part of it. Yahoo is their Verizon. These are all the email providers that your Hotmail is there. So what we are saying is if the email is matching on the domain for companies, let us say you are working for Oracle. Now Oracle is a specific company. So if you have Oraclecom as your domain, then you're saying throw it as a duplicate. Now you can actually set it up. You can do this thing as well. Instead of putting in only the domain only, you can also specify full email. You see this. You can specify the phone number. You can specify, all these things, criteria, you can actually set it up. Instead of doing the domain only, you can say that if the email fully matches, then I want the system to throw a duplicate detection. If the phone number is matching, then I want the system to throw us duplicate. This is for customers. This is for vendors. This is for partners and this is for contacts. You can actually specify the criteria with which you want to identify the duplicates. So tomorrow what happens is I'm creating, but the system does not throw an error. Because if you're having two vendors with the name Collian, it does not throw an error because we are saying only if the email matches so and so come. And then the second vendor also has the same email. That is when the system throws a warning saying that this is a duplicate vendor and it will give you the list of duplicate vendors which are in the system already. So what do you want to do with them? How do you want to deal with these duplicate vendors? That is in the preferences. You say you want to resolve the duplicates manually or you want the system to delete the duplicates access. Automatically do it. And then we also say show duplicate warning, pop-up on records. Whenever you create, we want to show it as a pop-up on the screen. I will show that to you once we create. Let's create two vendors with same email addresses and then I will show you how the system throws a warning saying that this is actually a set of duplicate issue. And then how do you resolve it? You go into lists mass update and then duplicate resolution, status entity duplicate resolution. You can go here and there you go. So what's happening here? These two companies A, B, C, INC and Capgemini are my duplicates now. The reason behind that is these two might have the same email address and that is the reason the system is showing that. So that is the reason it is showing up here. So what you can do is you can mark one as primary. You can mark the other as duplicate. This is a primary and this is a duplicate. And by doing that you can click on submit. It will delete the other customer and it will keep the primary customer which we have. But if there are any transactions on that customer, then it will not delete. So you can refresh on this. Status is queued as of now. We'll have to see if it resolves or not. There might be some transactions on those customers, and that is there you go. It got deleted. Resolved. What was the other one? I don't know. A, B, C, and C was the customer that I've selected and Capgemini. The other one was Capgemini. So now the Capgemini is not in the system because I'm saying that it's a duplicate customer of so and so, and that's the reason I want that to be deleted. So if you go back to your lists, mass update, and then entity duplicate resolution. Now there is nothing. There are no duplicates in the system. Any questions on this? I know the concept is a little elaborate, but I just wanted to cover that since we are doing the enable features over here and we will not get back to this. Customer duplicates and vendor duplicates again. So this is a selection. You can see that we were on customer duplicates, so you can also see vendor duplicates and you know all these filters. You can actually see that. If entities, you can select vendors and then it will give you the vendor duplicates if you have. As of now, there are no duplicates, so it is not showing it. I hope it is clear. Any questions on that? Great. So this is a mobile push notification. You can allow the users of NetSuite mobile products to receive push notifications for this company if you enable this. Like there's a purchase order pending for your approval. There is an item receipt pending for your approval. So those things are the push notifications that you can have for your system for the users. So we are done with the company tab. Now let's get into the accounting. So I know that the accounting concepts and all you are not well versed with, but then I will just show you what all we can enable and disable over here. So this is a basic accounting. If they want to go with accounting on NetSuite, then this has to be enabled. If this is not enabled, you will not see this accounting tab at all. The completing accounting itself will not be available. That is the main accounting enable feature that you have over there. And then if you want the AR, which is accounts receivable, since you have your customers, since you're dealing with the sales orders, you need the AR accounts. And then AP, which is your accounts payable. Just go by these names, guys. Accounts receivable. We are receiving something from the customer. We are receiving the amount. So that is the reason it is accounts receivable linked with your customers, linked with your sales orders. Accounts payable type. So you're paying something from your bank account. Who you are paying it to? You're paying it to your vendors. So when you're paying to the vendors, then you are buying something from them. So that is what your AP is, accounting periods. So what is an accounting period? Every company will have their own accounting financial calendar year. Usually it will be from April to March if it is in India. If it is some other country, it will be something else. So you need to set up these accounting periods on NetSuite if you want the accounting to be enabled. So where exactly do you have the accounting periods? You go into Setup Accounting and then scroll down. You will have Manage Accounting Period, something called as Manage Accounting Periods. So if you open this, what is a period? Every month that you see over here is a period. So financial year 2023 quarter 1 is January, February, March. This is a quarter and this is my 3 periods. Quarter 2 2023 March, April, May, June. These are the periods. So you can set up the periods like this. You have your FV 2023 and 2024. So from financial year 2014, you have this thing. So if you want to set up a full year, click on this. And you select the fiscal year end. And then save it. Once you do that, the system would automatically generate all the periods for you in the 2014 financial year 15. This is what we set up. It was not there earlier. And when you are done with the transactions at the month end, let us say this is yesterday was February 29th. So February 29th, you want everybody not doing any transactions in this period. So that is when you have to close that period. The financial team will actually close out the period. And once you close out the period, you will not be able to make any transactions in those periods. If you click on February, you can lock your accounts receivable. And you can lock your account, lock AP, lock all. If you do that, just click on this task. You will click on this task and you select all the subsidiaries. So what is the task? Have you clicked on AR, accounts receivable? So once you click on submit, there will be a lock which will come up against your accounts receivable for that particular period. And you see the status screen checked out and there is a lock over here. Now, nobody will be able to do any transactions as far as the sales is concerned because I've locked AR accounts receivable. Likewise, I can lock my AP. I can lock all. So these are the activities which are performed at the month end by every financial team. They have to review their negative inventory. They have to resolve what date period mismatches are there manually. And then calculate consolidated exchange rates. Once all this is done, if you click on close, then it will close out the period. February 2023 I have selected. So February 2023 as a period will be completely closed and you will not be able to make any transactions in February. And if someone has to make some transactions, the admin or the financial team will have a provision to reopen the periods. So let me see if there is any closed period over here. Let's get into the accounting periods. Let's get into the list. So is there a period which is closed? Nothing is closed, but let's do one thing. Let's close out a period completely. See, I have left out one subsidiary and that is the reason it is not completely closed. It says in progress. Why is it in progress? I left out the last subsidiary over here. That is the reason there is a lock. You see this for all the other things, but for this there is no lock, so I can close out the Flipkart e-commerce as well. And now it is closed. So if you click on it again, you can unmark all and then submit. I have reopened it. And this access will be available only for the administrators or the financial departments. It will not be available for everybody. I mean, you don't want anybody to go ahead and open those periods, correct? So that is the reason it will be available. As an administrator, I have access to everything, and that's how I'm able to see it. But usually it is available only for the administrators and financial managers. You can say, any questions on the accounting periods? So, for example, if you close or lock account receivables, you will not be able to receive an account from anyone for that particular period. Perfect. Exactly correct. In that period you cannot, but in the next period you can. But will they close that period once you go to the next period? Absolutely. It has to be closed. They will close out. I mean, since today is March 1st, they will close out every transaction on February 29th so that nobody will be able to make any transactions. What if there are some transactions which are pending? It will be posted to the next period. It just gets posted to the next period. That's it. It will be carried forward. So what I meant to say was, see, today is March 10th. And I don't want to do something on February 25th. I do not. I should not have access to go back and say I will receive a backdated payment on February 25th for a normal user. See, the exceptions are always there. So if I, as a user, if I forgot that, I have to, collect the payment on February 29th in NetSuite and the period is closed. So I reach out to the accounting team. I ask them to open the period only for a few seconds and then I just go ahead and, receive all these things. They, I mean you, have to explain to them. Any questions on the accounts? I mean the accounting periods. There is an option which is called as close multiple periods. So this is a preference. By the way, this is an accounting preference. So if you, select this, all the previous periods will be automatically closed. If I close from June 2023, let us say May, April, March, February, Jan, or without the sub-activities, everything will be closed automatically. Usually this is not given in the production access. This is a accounting preference. I'll show exactly where it is. Whether this can be automated or you have to do manually for a period. It is automated. So there is no manual intervention. We don't know how to do it. Correct? Let's get back to the enable features. We were under accounting periods. So GL audit numbering. So do you want to know all the GL audit gap plus numbering for all the GL posted transactions? For every transaction, it will be, you will have the numbering one after the other. So that is what will be your GL audit numbering. And then these are the advanced features. You have expense allocation. You have dynamic allocation. Now what is an expense allocation? So you have an expense of 1 lakh rupees and you want to divide that between the departments of your company. I've spent 15,000 on IT, 20,000 on procurement, another 40,000 on the HR. So all these things can be coming under the expense allocation. So you can disable that expense allocation as well. And then your intercompany framework. So what is the intercompany? When you have multiple subsidiaries. Here in this account, we have a lot of subsidiaries, like 9 or 10 subsidiaries that we have over here. So when you deal within the subsidiaries, you might want to purchase something within the company as well. Within the company, from the HR department. You want to procure something into the IT department. In that case, the intercompany framework actually works out. So to let you know what is an intercompany. You have subsidiary A and then you have subsidiary B. So subsidiary A want to purchase something from subsidiary B. Correct? So whenever this happens, the subsidiary A will be a customer for subsidiary B, correct? Because you are buying something. Buying from subsidiary A and selling happens from subsidiary B. So whenever you're buying from subsidiary A becomes a customer for B. And B becomes a vendor for subsidiary A. Got it. You understood this concept. So you put in a sales order in subsidiary A. And that sales order is against subsidiary B. Here, what you do is, since you are selling here, there is a purchase order against subsidiary A. So this is a little confusing concept, but just try to understand the concept of the intercompany stuff. When you're buying it from one subsidiary, the next subsidiary becomes a customer and subsidiary B would become a vendor. However, when you are, whenever you're shipping out something, you have to ship out the material from subsidiary A. First of all, you need to have a sales order here, which will be against the vendor A. Now, whenever you put in a purchase order or a sales order against subsidiary B, then you will have to do item fulfillment from here, correct? Because it is going from subsidiary B to subsidiary A. There will be an item fulfillment here. The material goes from the warehouse of subsidiary B to the warehouse of subsidiary A. That will be your item fulfillment. And here you need to do an item receipt because you are getting the material from subsidiary B. Is this clear, or do you want me to explain that once again? So while doing the transactions, probably you'll understand a little better. But I just wanted you to understand the concept of intercompany framework. What exactly happens? Subsidiary A and B will be there. So instead of putting this in a sheet, you will have a clear understanding. Let me do that. Subsidiary A and subsidiary B. Subsidiary A is going to become the customer. And subsidiary B will be a vendor. So you will have a purchase order. You will have a purchase order on subsidiary A against subsidiary B. So when you have a purchase order here, you will have a sales order because you are sending out something to the subsidiary. Correct? So first, what will happen? The item goes out of subsidiary B through item fulfillment. And then on the subsidiary A, there is an item receipt and they accept the material. Got it. I think it's clear now. So usually this is how it works. I mean, this is a customer. It is a reverse thing. I mean, vendor will be there for purchase order. A customer will be there for sales order. But in intercompany stuff, what I'm saying is subsidiary A just becomes a customer for sub B and the B subsidiary becomes a vendor for subsidiary A. That's it. Any questions on that? That's great. So I think we are almost at the top of the show. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.